nickname. I was reading a little Meister Eckhart, and I read some of his stuff about detachment, and I still don't understand his detachment. But according to his detachment, that he says describes it as taking leave of yourself, but he says very little about how he did it exactly. I'm wondering if you know.
He probably didn't do it. Yeah, he probably didn't do it. He just observed something happened, and he reported back. That would be my take, but I don't know. I've never read Meister Eckhart, and I think it was probably he observed a change, and then maybe he gave it a name, detachment. Yes, but I don't believe. It's hard to be detached when you're attached to an idea of being a person. Yeah, so you can be detached from everything else and still be attached to that idea. Yeah, yeah. So I would just be concerned with the attachment as a person, so to speak. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that would be my take. I wanted to share if someone else, and then
I have a little squatter story, but it can wait. If I can either share it or not, it doesn't matter. But it kind of came up.
Go ahead, honey, if you like. Go ahead.
You mentioned yesterday that I'm squatting, and that was kind of interesting. I'm like, oh yeah, and then I went through a tornado of what that was, and adding all this meaning that isn't really meaning. But this morning there was a tent outside our house with some people squatting, and I'm like, okay, that's me. There's no separation, and then this whole notion of are we squatting, and the host of who we are. It was kind of trippy, and I kind of ended up engaging with the people that were squatting today. And they asked for some juice and something to eat, and I wasn't being Mother Teresa. It was just all coming out all by itself. It's a cute little episode of all's well that ends well. And then a neighbor came and knocked on our door today to let us know that they'd called the authorities to come and ask these people to leave because they were disrupting and causing havoc for some underage children because they were up partying apparently last night. But anyway, it was just interesting, the notion of what John just said about detachment and then squatting and host, and it's just fascinating stuff that I don't know if that makes sense, but that's all. Okay. Hopefully.
I don't want to get into the squatting. It was someone squatting in a house next door to you? Oh, in a tent?
In a tent, and they seem to...
Well, they were probably thinking they were camping. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, this is the type of... There's different points of view. Someone who's in a neighbor house would say it's squatting. The people are there saying they're camping.
And what I got out of it is that
the authorities may be on the squatting side. Yes.
And there's your police and this and that. It was
exactly. I mean,
yeah.
Might makes right. What I wanted to share today a little bit, a friend of the group, and I hear this a lot, so I'm not bringing up any specific people, but people that I get a lot of emails concerning this situation, whereas they've heard the message of non-duality, or they're hearing the message of non-duality, they have a working understanding of it, yet the action figure still flips out. Yes. And so, and of course, when it's flipping out, the action figure tries to use non-duality as a skillful means to escape from something as a someone, yes? And usually non-duality doesn't work well in that situation because it leaves you high and dry, which is really the true compassion, yeah? But let's say if you're flipping out and whatever, and just obviously, if you've been alive a while, you've probably flipped out quite a lot. And hopefully you've learned some skillful means or some tricks to sort of limit the elevation that you think you go off into. Yeah. And then you come back to reason. Yes. And so, like in recovery, we have a prayer, the serenity prayer, and it's quite helpful. It takes a few seconds and it sort of like balances the situation. Yes. Now, the idea is with some people is I'm just going to give up on non-duality. Yeah. But see, non-duality isn't something you entertain. It's a fact. Yes. It's different than entertaining it. It's a fact. It goes below the entertainment, the message in a way. And it reveals itself as a fundamental fact by bringing into light a lot of the false evidence that constantly keeps appearing. Yes? Because of us, really, the way we look at things. So the idea of non-duality, I've never seen it as a skillful means. I don't think it works on that level. Yeah, because it's not a utensil in this dream, in the dreaming. It's the context of everything. Yeah. And so maybe it's going to take a while for it to bubble up. Yeah. But in the meantime, use some skillful means. Yeah. Like service is probably one of the best, I feel, because a lot of people unknowingly studying non-duality go up the ass of self in a lot of ways. Yeah. Because now they've got an intellectual idea that really is mutated, which is weird. Yes, the head makes it into, well, I'm feeling fucking really terrible, but there's no one there to feel terrible. But the feeling terrible is the experience they're having. Yeah, they're trying to put this philosophical SALVE on it, and it ain't working. Yeah, so and the thing is, it's not you doing the skillful means anyway. There's never been a one doing anything. There's doing. Yeah, so just go that habit and get some fucking relief, and then it may be easier to sort of sink into non-duality without the thrashing and the everything else. Yes, so I wanted to talk about that because these are the subtleties of stuff, because the head claims whatever it comes into contact with through us. Yes. And so while there's, let's say, a minor, a silent meaning that's just the aha or the unspoken yes or the knowing before knowing, there's a lot of mental trying to know. Yeah. And it takes what's there and chops it up and cooks it and serves it as a meal in a sense, and that ain't it. Yeah. And it's inevitable because that's whatever we come in contact with, an idea, non-duality, anything, the head is going to claim to be the one that's in contact with it. And it's going to give it a meaning from its point of view. That's what you see. Yeah. That's what the non-duality is pointing out as not you. So you see it. Now, you don't know where you see it from because you can't know where you're seeing it from because you are that. Yeah. You cannot know where you're seeing false evidence from. To recognize that appearance as false evidence, you can't know that. You can't see that because that's you. That's us. Yeah. That's what gets through sooner or later. Yeah. Why things are the way they are gets explained without any mental explanation. Yeah, you just see it. There's an awareness of it. So if you feel like the house is on fire, get a pail of water. Yeah. You'll be able to sit at satsang and much more comfortably and maybe get it through osmosis if you're not in a fire. Yes. It may be, it's like when I went to see that guy Ramesh Balsekar in India, Bombay. It was funny because I was there for like 13 days. I mean, I think 6 days and I came back. I went somewhere else and then back. And he always started the meeting with this. Whoever he was addressing says, hey, do you have a place to stay? Have you had some food today? Because if you haven't, this isn't where you need to be. You need to be at the restaurant. You need to be getting a place to stay. Yes? He would just say, all right, get these little things out of the way. And okay, now you can rest in the satsang. Yeah. If you're agitated, you're gonna look at satsang and non-duality like you look at everything else as a drug addict, as an addict. You want relief, yeah? You want to shoot up some non-duality and get some relief. It doesn't work well, yeah? It's like shooting up fucking water. You convince yourself something's happening, but nothing's happening. There's no drug in it, yeah? So if the house is on fire, get a pail of water. And then maybe someone will talk with you and say, isn't it interesting that you're at a lot of fires? And maybe you are the fire starter. And then finally, what? And that leads to, and therefore you're not the fire starter. Because once you see the fire starter, you will see it as not you. If you're completely trying to deny that you're the fire starter, you're a huge fire starter. But if you finally admit and see the fire starter, you'll see it as not you, with the understanding of non-duality. Not as a way to get out of it, but just a recognition of it. Yes? So skillful means are great, and one of the great gifts of non-duality is the lack of need of skillful means. Yeah? Because they're trying to take the place of something that's readily available. They are. The mental state would rather convince itself it's somewhere than to admit it's somewhere. Yeah? It wants to do something to make it seem like I changed something. Yeah? And if that's the case, do something. Yes? And then it will lead you not to have to do something if you're armed with the understanding of satsang. You'll recognize the machinations. You'll recognize the mechanism. It's like when what you call your devices are flailing to try to figure something out and you don't get anything, you'll see they're not yours. Yeah. That's the beauty of it. The beauty of non-duality, it puts a light on all seeking, but let's say spiritual seeking, and you see the nakedness of it. You see not from being the seeker, but you see the seeking. Yeah. If you're seeing it as a seeker, there's blinders. You don't want all the information that's available when you are aware of the seeking. You don't as the seeker because there's an investment in it. Yeah. You got an investment in the seeking. But when you see it from awareness, you'll see the nakedness of it. And maybe it will whack you, maybe it will land, and you won't be so special, and you won't disqualify yourself from recognizing the pattern of what you're not with the sense of being you. Yeah? You'll see it naked. And you'll see there's no difference seeking spiritually. There was seeking for drugs. There was basically really no difference. Yeah? It was a drive. It was a drive. Yeah? And that drive was being used to reinforce the driver, to reinforce the seeker, to reinforce the spiritual seeker or the drug seeker. So I saw it. That's why I saw when the head tried to use non-duality, like it tried to use other things. I saw it naked. Because I had heard satsang, I had heard a revelation, and that revelation was active when there was I saw stuff. I saw it, the nakedness of it. Yeah. And I realized the futility of using what I am to look for what I am. I mean, to the core, it just ended it. Yeah. I don't think that's a rare occasion. I think it's readily available. Yeah. Something happens. There's contact. Then there's tons of meetings. None of those meetings fucking matter, really. None. You could say, well, this is it, but you're just throwing darts in the dark. Yeah. It's really a state of I don't know. But what's interesting is there's always going to be given meaning to things. That's valuable. Yes. You see that there's always meaning given to things. Things are inherently empty. They have no message or meaning in and of themselves. This is the dreaming. That's what you'll see. You won't come out with a clear fucking meaning. You'll see that there's a giving of meaning to everything. Isn't that difference? It's a different form of knowledge. Yeah. Yeah, so it's just like we used to say a lot. Many of us would have been better off never hearing the word awakening. Probably would have been. Yeah, we probably would have been easier on ourselves today if we didn't have this other spiritual Thor hammer of awakening and not being awake, or actually worse, once being awake and then blowing it. Yeah, or enlightenment. Enlightenment seems to drive people fucking crazy. It's not the enlightenment, it's how it's heard. It's the meaning that it's given from us. Yes? This is what I don't care about enlightenment. What I care about is what it triggers when people hear it. That's what I care about. If you can see that, you'll lose the need to be enlightened. You will. If you can see what triggers around the word awakening and enlightenment and doer, and I'm not talking about the doing, I'm talking about that meaning, doer, that meaning thinker, that meaning feeler. When you see that, yeah, not as a feeler, not as a thinker, not as a doer, but as awareness, when you see that, unclothed, not directed, not refracted through lenses, just see it, yeah? And you've heard it. You've heard the message, and then you see the living aspect of the message. To negate that which is being noticed, yeah? To me, that's the use of non-duality. It brings out the misunderstandings into stark contrast, and you see them, and you don't see them as yours. You just see them as misunderstandings, yes? If they're not yours, they can be easily replaced with clear understanding. Yeah. It's like a big argument when one of your understandings has to be moved. There's a big fight. It's just like when you want to dump shit off at Goodwill, but then everything is yours, and then you end up keeping 80% of it. Yeah. Oh, I want this. I don't want it. Yes, this is it. Yeah. What does that reveal? It has nothing to do with thrift store and bringing the shit over there. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with seeing it, the patterns of how things go. Yes? And recognize it's all verbing and there's no noun to be found. And the noun that shows up is always after. And then it's implied to be before. And then you read the thing. There's a presupposing of a non-existent thing being existing and then wanting to get salvation for the non-existent thing. Yes? All right. What happens? What happens when there's a verb claimed and then a noun is produced and then the noun is presupposed to be the doer of the verb? To see that is valuable. Yes? Yeah. And it wasn't, oh, I saw it at Walmart one day. No, you saw a pattern that's always reproducing itself. Yes? Forget the location or the place. Yeah. There's the value in my feeling. Yeah. I mean, I've had things that I've been sharing because when I first heard them, they were like avalanches. They were like a yodeling in the Alps, and shit just fell like a giant landslide. And I still get that feeling reproduced when I use those statements at these satsangs for 20 something years. Produces the exact same feeling of a landslide. Yeah. You can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. Whatever can be perceived cannot be perceiving. Yeah. The seeker is the sought. What's looking is what you're looking for. So, yeah, anyone else have any questions or anything?
Well, while we're waiting, I have something to add quickly because, Jack, do you mind if I finish? It goes with Mia's homelessness theme. It's I finally looked up the reference in the course that from the page that you read that refers to that description that we've already heard. And for years I've been and I finally found it. So I'll just read it quickly because it starts off kind of introducing the idea that it's not you. It will go back into saying it's you, but I'll just read it quickly. There is a stranger in him who wandered carelessly into the home of truth and who will wander off. He came without a purpose, but he will not remain before the shining light of the Holy Spirit that the Holy Spirit offered and you accepted. For there the stranger is made homeless and you are welcome. Asks not this transient stranger, what am I? He is the only thing in all the universe that does not know. Yet it is he you would ask, and it is to his answer that you would adjust. But yeah, it uses that kind of that parasite thing at the beginning about a stranger, something else that wanders in.
Yes,
So
exactly.
I thought maybe you'd like to hear what that reference was to.
Oh, so we heard a description earlier?
Yeah, it's 2 chapters earlier.
Oh, great. So it's a scripture of the something else that has been made to be ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You can call it a stranger, foreign pathogen, an activity. Yeah.
Oh, and Jack's hand is up. Okay, Jack. He's coming.
Thanks, Mike.
Who's going to show up, the stranger or Jack?
It's a good question. Paul, getting back to what you were just talking about before, the other side of that coin, I just want to share an experience, not my experience, but an experience. You know, I've been doing some listening of different spiritual people. And I heard, I was listening to Nisargadatta yesterday about a half hour before our meeting. And anyway, at the end of the talk, the last thing he said was, he didn't say wake up from the dream. He said, stop dreaming. And when he said, stop dreaming, the room dropped about 10 feet. And, you know, and within about a half hour, I came onto this meeting and you were speaking. And, you know, I'm in a room by myself here and I only have you on the screen. And I understood everything that you said, every word. And at one point, it almost seemed as though there was no distinction between. And so, you know, it was an experience. And, you know, it's pretty much had an effect on me since yesterday. And I would say a very good effect. And so I don't know, I just wanted to share that experience because I feel like it was kind of the other side of the coin of the same coin that you were talking about when this all started. So thank you very much, Paul.
Thanks, Jack. Yes. Anyone else, Mike?
No other hand right now. Gary Clark. Hi, Gary. Muted. still.
Unmute. Okay.
Gary.
Hi, Paul. So
Hey, bro.
I'm just listening. Hey, and it's like the problem is listening, and I'm trying to understand what you're saying. There's an I trying to understand what, or maybe there isn't. I don't know. But there seems to be this effort at understanding what you're saying, and it's getting in the way. And then there's the seeing of that effort
Yes.
to understand. And I don't know, that just leaves me back to square one. It's like, I just see this tangled thing, and you know, so there's like this seeing, but there's also a seeing of confusion. And it's but I guess the point I'm noticing is it's the attempt to understand that's getting in the way.
Yes. Well, the thing is, the idea that it's you listening is off in a way. Yeah. There's
Okay.
listening, and then that's claimed to imply there's a you. Yeah. So the listening is true. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
how the listening is used to reinforce or emphasize the listener. Yeah. Which shows you
Okay.
the second part you saw. That's fantastic. Yeah. That's what we were just talking about in the beginning. Not the particulars, but what's happening. So there you go. You're trying to understand something. You see that as not you. There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore you see something in you something's going to land, and you're going to see the futility of understanding. Not in a specific manner, but as a broad gesture concerning this topic. Yeah, which is awesome. Because when there's such a stubbornness to understand, there's a reliance on understanding. And in this case, the understanding is unreliable. Yeah. So that's beautiful. Yeah. See, futility met with the non-dual, let's say, understanding turns into a hallelujah instead of more frustration. Yes? Because the thing is, then you see you're trying to understand it, and then you get frustrated because you think it's the real you that's trying to understand it. You don't get frustrated when something else is frustrated about trying to understand something. You don't. Yeah.
No.
That's a
No.
hallelujah moment. You're jacked up with that news because the system is running over itself. Yeah. Do you see?
Mm.
That which is
think so.
frustrated, that it's not understanding, is exactly that which you're not. That's the understanding. That's garnered by seeing that activity in a new light. See? Before, most people would stop at, oh, I'm frustrated because I'm trying to understand it. No. You take a step back and you're not that's frustrated trying to understand it. A lot of people get to, oh, I'm trying to understand the understandable, but they don't get that they're not that's trying to understand the understandable. Yeah. So they still have frustration. Now they're going to try to apply another understanding. I got to give up trying to understand the non-understandable. No, you just took the floor out of its whole platform. You didn't even take it out. You just showed the emperor with no clothes or the house with no floor. FLOOR. Yeah. That's the message. That's what's going on here.
Yeah. The floor keeps dropping.
Yeah, and so that which wanted to understand is that which says it's frustrated. You're neither of those. Hallelujah. So what do I need? What am I moved to do? Probably nothing. At this moment. That's the point. This is the disarming quality of this message. It disarms you because usually what's called to arms is the system trying to defend itself. Yes? It's the selfing trying to defend itself. I take offense at not being able to understand. Yes? You cut it at its ankles. Fantastic. You didn't, but there was a seeing of it. That's the point. The message is to see what we're speaking about. Not to know what we're speaking about, but to see what we're speaking about. To have the sense of being aware of what we're speaking about at these talks. We're not talking about what we are, we're describing what we're not. And that when there's that recognition, the only true description of what we are can come from what we're not. I mean, from what we are. The true description of what we're not comes from what we are. Yeah. When you see through what you're not, you get an intimacy of what you are. You don't know it. You don't experience it. You don't understand it. You don't have it. But there's something else. Yeah? There's a sense of it. Yeah. That's worth so much more than understanding it, knowing it, thinking you have it, getting it. Yes, it's worth so much more. This is what we're getting across here. That's something else. See, this is where I disagree with the Course. There's something else that we've made to be ourselves. I'm sick and tired of this assumed or implied ownership. I don't believe we've made any fucking thing to be ourselves. I feel, there's the antagonist and the antagonism is the same nothing. It's not us, yes? So I much rather say, and that's something else the mental state has made to be ourselves. Yes, that makes sense to me. I'm clear with that, yes? So that's what you see is the something else that the mental state has made to be yourself. That's the message, is to see that. Yeah. And then watch its reaction. I'm frustrated that I've made this something else to be me. Yes, that's the something else fucking talking. Yeah. You keep pulling the rug off before it goes off on its fucking sermon for the day. You just pull the rug from underneath it. Yes? That's all. Don't have to do it a lot. You do it a few times.
The seeing. Yeah.
Yes. That's one thing that it hasn't been able to co-op. No matter how hard it's tried. No matter how hard it keeps chanting, that which came after is what's before. It doesn't matter. It cannot It cannot trespass on awareness. Yeah? Awareness is a quality not in time. It's not of time. Yes?
Mhm.
That's the one quality that can be used cleanly and clearly. The quality of understanding can lead to a misunderstanding. Yeah?
Almost
A lot of
immediately.
these mental characteristics are dualistic in nature, but awareness is not. Awareness is clear, clean. I don't like the word pure because I don't think there's any unpure awareness. Yeah? Awareness is not of two. It doesn't have, a evil dark side. Or, this person thinks they're somewhere else and they've really taken advantage of tons of other people. It doesn't have that side. It's aware. Yeah? Yes? So what it becomes aware of is this two-ness. Is this little slinky thing going on? Yes? Is this coin that we keep swapping and flipping as if we're going to get a different answer when the heads and tails are the same fucking thing? Yeah? This is what's revealed. The two-ness is revealed.
Mm. Mm.
Because you are the one. Oh, I had an experience of oneness. That's from a two-ness point of view. Tell you the fucking truth. Oneness can't have an experience of oneness. Yeah? What you have is, tons of experiences of two-ness, seemingly. Yes? And there's a truth be told there, and now you lose interest in experiencing what you are, and you gain interest in being what you are. Yeah? And it doesn't matter what you're experiencing. It doesn't change that you're being what you are. What? Yeah.
Mm.
So the judge, the referee, they're not needed. Yeah? You're never fucking out of bounds. You're never lacking. Or as the Course in Miracles says, there's no sin. There's only mistakes. All can be corrected. Why is that? Because there's nothing in reality here. Yes? What gets done here can get undone here. But there's no doing and undoing in awareness. None. Yes? Either we are that or we're not. Yeah? The assumption of non-duality, which it isn't gone over that much, is that you are reality. Yeah? That's the assumption. Yeah? What's the important endeavor here? Seemingly to see what you're not. Tell you the truth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
To see that
And what
trick.
you're going to see when you see what you're not, it's going to be that which is looking for what it is. Yeah. It's looking for what you are as a goal that it never wants to meet. It never wants to arrive. Yeah. It's not into being. It's into becoming and unbecoming. If you say it's going to be a 40-year search, it will gladly sign up. It'll sit 13 hours on a fucking cushion to get there. But to have it immediately be available right now, there's no fucking interest in it from the mental state. None, really. Because it can't do anything with it. Yes? Have you ever followed a non-dual blog? It doesn't go anywhere. There's no goal. I've been working. No, there's no working towards. I'm going to get ready to arrive. There's no getting ready to arrive. It just takes all that out of the way right now. The seeker is the sought, compressed. Yeah, there's not much to fucking write about.
Mm.
And the dilemma is, if you're in your head and you hear someone describe what it's like to be free and all like this, you're going to make up concepts and it's going to be put to a bad use in you. You're going to think you got to go to Walmart in the appliance section and get hit with a toaster to wake up. Yeah. I saw it. People very innocently shared their moment they woke up. people try to go to that park the guy went to or set up the situation as if they can trigger the same thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So much easier just to talk about what we're not. Yeah. Instead of going into the realm of describing the indescribable. It's just fucking insane. Let's leave it. That's the beauty of it. It's indescribable. Fucking, that's the beauty of it. Yeah. Do you want to have an understanding that you can understand? Is that going to really work? All the understandings you've understood sucked. It's brought you here. You want to have an understanding that you can understand. That works. I find that works well. Yeah. So then you receive revelations of understanding from the admittance, I can't understand. This is beyond my pay scale. Yeah. As this action figure. Has experiences ever made anything really so? Yeah. No. All right.
Thanks.
Yeah, Gary, I love seeing you. And yeah.
You
Good. Thanks,
ready
Paul.
for, thanks,
See,
Gary.
and then see the reaction. Yes. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks.
Hmm. All right.
Ready for
When
Bill?
I say see, obviously we're not talking about eye, vision. In most cases, we're talking about awareness, seeing. Yes, an understanding, not understanding, but seeing. Yeah. Yeah.
Not something the eyes do. Yeah.
No, the eyes, obviously. Anyone else?
Yep, Bill.
Bill.
Hey, Paul.
Oh, Bill C.
Yes. Hey, I just wanted to chime in because I really appreciated your message you started off with tonight about having a non-dual understanding, and a working understanding, whatever you want to call it, of that, and then getting jammed up in the head, right? And using skillful means, and it's like, in my own experience, discovering non-duality, some years ago, after years in recovery and years in doing A Course in Miracles, it changed everything. It rocked my world immensely. And I, but that doesn't mean I don't get jammed up in the head sometimes, and what I'll tell you, it was just really supportive and good for me to hear you say that today, because that's what, I'm a course, I kind of use the course as kind of like my design for life. And I go to it for a lot of what to do. And basically when I get jammed up, and you were just saying it beautifully to Gary prior to this, about trying to understand when you're in all that, and if I just stop and do what the course says, and even recovery, ask the higher power for help, like, all right, I know I'm not seeing right here, help me here, something happens, so, and I let go, that's a skillful means, like, for me, and like something will happen that works, and a peace will come, because after discovering or having non-duality come into my life, there was a period that went on where I didn't do that, because I thought, well, everything's just one, and
Yes. Yeah.
we're one with source, and it knows what I'm thinking, and all that, and I got away from that, and it didn't work real well for me. And so it was just good for you to share on that subject tonight, because it's so simple, and it is all the Course of Miracles says all through it. It's like when you're jammed up, ask the Holy Spirit for help. That's the word it uses for the higher power, something else, and when I do that, and it just say, like, just have this, maybe it's awareness, just seeing, I'm not doing something's going on here that isn't fun or isn't pleasant, or I'm dreaming a bad dream or something, whatever. And I just say, I need help. Help me, please, and stop. Something happens,
Yeah.
and it's a beautiful, skillful and it just plain old works, and it was just really good to hear you say that, and it brought to my memory when you were talking about understanding, because that would be me. When I'd get jammed up in my head in the past, I'd be like, well, what did that teacher say? Or what did Paul say? Or what did the book say? And I'd have all this trying to like getting out of self, I guess would be what that would be. And but not even knowing I'm doing it, And it just reminded me also when you were sharing about understanding. I was at a meeting, AA meeting years ago in Florida, and a lady talking about the higher power. And I'll never forget this lady said, if you could understand the higher power, it wouldn't be a higher power. It'd be a tie at best. And it always just landed with me, because like I try to like understand everything rather than just kind of use the skillful means to just help me. I'm out of it, help, and if something happens. Yeah. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill. Well, the reason why I brought it up tonight was because I see a pattern of it concerning hearing non-duality. Yes, it happens a lot. The head rushes up and makes you would see more non-duality as a circular movement, and the mental state's understanding will square it off. Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore it loses, sort of like having that glass of the Colorado River on your mantle, thinking that's the river, when really it's lost the essence of the rivering. Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
this idea of there was never a person that did anything, and there's not a person's that not going to do anything. Yeah. You see, it's an old understanding. It's like a thumb sticking out in the light of the understanding of non-duality. That's what I'm speaking about tonight, is to see the reactions. Yeah, like you just said, you would try to understand things, so you see that isn't you. That which is trying to understand as a way to get out of something it doesn't want to be in, that's not you. That's valuable to me. Yes. Once you start recognizing the stranger or the rentee, someone who's implying that it's his house or their house, yet you're in it before them. Yes, you're truly the master in a way. So you watch the reaction of the head, yeah, as not you. That's the value in a lot of this stuff. Just like Brahmana said with that little reading we had about another question he heard a lot, which was, is there free will or is it all predetermined? Yes. And so basically, after he answered them, he said, really, the only value that those questions have, is to see who's asking them. Yes. So this is what happens. Now life occurs, and there's the old reaction occurs, but now there's a new light upon it, and you can see something that you didn't see before. Before, it would be just, that's more of me. I don't want to deal with that. Whatever. I've got to change that. Whatever. Yeah. There would be a reaction to it as you. Now you see that as not you. That's the activity of being what you are. The activity of being what you are is seeing what you're not. That's really the activity of it here, is seeing what you're not. Yeah. So you see. Yeah. And then usually at that point, it's negated each other, green, and then yeah, you're on that baseline. And after seemingly being brought back to the baseline so many times, you finally realize you've never left the baseline. And then the charade's truly fucking blown out of the water. Yes?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
And then you may not use skillful means. Then you may not use skillful means, not as some fucking mental vow, but out of not having a necessity to. Yes? That's the perfect non-using of skillful means, not needing one. That's why I love tools. I love tools when I don't have to use them. That's great. Yeah.
Tell you that the big shift like has been being aware at the time that I'm not seeing, that what I'm seeing I'm not seeing now or something.
Yeah.
You know, I that's the simple prayer. Help me to see, because like there's a clear away. I don't want to say there's like a seeing that I'm not seeing. And a simple help me to see, you know,
Yeah.
and that's a step away, because in the past when I was in at that place of not seeing, it just seemed just as real as could be. I had no idea that was
Yeah.
even going on, you know. Yeah, so that's
Now
the
you
big
do.
change. Exactly.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And every time you see what you're not, it reinforces the sense of being what you are. I'm telling you.
Right.
Just like it did, the head used it in the opposite manner. It kept repeating everything was about you, and then there was a strong recognition that yes, this is me, this is me, this is about me, this is me. Yeah. So now it's like this is not me. What a novel idea to use the exact same mechanism that reinforces the identification as self as a weakening of the identification as self. Because what's identifying as self seemingly is the audience. Yes? So now the audience is using a different chant and say, yay, that's me. It's not. And what happens? What happens? The interest and attention lifts off from the myopic stage with you as the character, and now you see more. There's not more seeing, there's seeing more. Yeah? Yeah. And this is happening in this little stage, and it replicates in this stage. It does, because now you're seeing more. You're not only seeing, oh, that's me, and da-da-da. No, wait a minute. And then you pause, and then if you pause, there's a secondary mental reaction, and you're not that. Yes, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yes. And then go about your merry way, and I bet you down the road you won't be picking up the skillful means as much, not because I've got to stop picking, because they're not necessary at the moment.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go, traveling lighter.
You know, it's like you said yesterday, I think it was, like all that could be going on and there's still a peace.
Of
There's
course
peace.
there is.
Well, right. And it's almost entertaining to see that stuff going on sometimes. It's like, whoa, man. But there actually is. It is. It's like a peace that passes understanding, you know, just like they say.
That's right.
Yeah.
I remember I was
That's
with the
incredible.
guru, and the guru would say, hey, if you can't meditate on Fifth Avenue in New York, forget all the sitting and shit. Yes?
Yeah.
If you can't meditate in Times Square, forget all the temples and all the fucking retreats. Yes? There's peace at Times Square because you're there. Yes? You're not the bearer of peace, you are the peace.
Right.
Yeah. And then you can see shit in a comedic way. Yeah. You can. Or you can see it's sort of like the greatest gymnast in the world, and you've been at so many shows, he only has 3 moves. Now you recognize the pattern with all the thought stream. You see a pattern underneath it. You're not being interested in the specific bubbles coming off it. You see the pattern.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Yes. You see the pattern. It's a finite level.
Yeah.
It doesn't have infinite manifestations or permutations. It doesn't. It has finite. It's like it's almost if you took a long stretch of sound, you'd see the pattern of those sound waves, yes?
Mm-hmm.
So you would lose interest in the sound and you'd see the wave, the pattern of the wave, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So why do I flip out? You lose interest in that. You see the pattern, yeah? You're not interested in why did I flip out? You're more interested in, is there someone that flipped out? Yes,
Right.
that's
Right.
hearing something other than the surface sound. You're hearing the pattern of something. Yes, that's the song of satsang, is to recognize that all the songs that are playing in your little jukebox have one fucking theme. Yeah, they can have R&B, funk, but they all got the same fucking theme. Yeah. So you start recognizing something you didn't see by getting caught up in all the particulars. Yeah. Open up, you see. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And we already know. That's the beauty of it. We already know. All it needs to be is scratched, itched, implied, tickled. Yeah, it's readily available. It's not like super deep. It's you can get to it quickly. Yeah.
Just seems really natural after a bit, you know.
Of course it is.
It's nature. It's our nature, right? Yeah. Yeah. Our true nature. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And it's not going anywhere. It's not. You know? The open land doesn't put up signs ready to build on. We've put the fucking signs on. Yeah. That space is there. Yeah. Yeah, bro. I'm happy I met you, Bill, and
Yeah.
we're having this little strange relationships on Zoom.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul. I really appreciate the message, man.
Oh yeah, I'm happy. I appreciate it myself. Yes. I do. We're in a biblical event in California, Northern California. A few more days of what's happening, it's going to be it's really been pouring here.
Are you building an ark?
My whole backyard here is like a sponge. Seriously,
Wow.
it's just soaked, which is good in one way because the dog running around has killed a lot of the lawn. Now we have a different excuse to tell to the landlady. It was the flood. The flood killed the grass. Yeah, it's pretty and we're supposed to keep having it. We have a creek across the street. It's like a raging river right now. It's awesome, really, the power of, and you know what? Because of its nature, just the relentlessness of going downhill or whatever little, it's mind-boggling. You know how much power is just built with that one aspect of water's nature. It's incredible, eh? Really, it's unstoppable, fucking unstoppable.
Yeah. You know where I used to live in Florida, man, they had the hurricane a couple months ago, and it was a 12-foot surge of water came from the Gulf of Mexico and just wiped the whole island out. I mean, not damaged houses. They're just not even there anymore. It's just unbelievable to see nature, like you said. And
Yeah.
beyond
Well,
any.
that momentum is available in all of us. Yes.
Mhm.
You ever read Lord Buddha from the Hinayana? You ever hear of Hinayana
Yeah,
or Theravada? You know, the Buddhism that's practiced in Thailand and Cambodia and stuff.
heard of it, but don't know
Yes.
much about it.
Well, their thing is, you know, the person getting realized and stuff, whatever. But they have a book of that. There's a book from that that whole grouping of Hinayana Buddhism of Lord Buddha explains everything. Basically, it's a great book. I had it once, and he talks about the speed of mind, how fast mind, big M, mind's moving, unbelievable speed. Yes, yeah. And so when you see the speed of water going, can you imagine? Not even close to the speed of mind, big mind. Yeah. The power whipping up there. And Ramana would always say people would see some sage sitting in a cave and they're going, well, he's not doing anything. He says, that dude's doing more than everyone's doing.
Yeah.
He's moving so fucking fast, he's sitting still.
Yeah.
So I need do nothing doesn't mean nothing's being done. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I think that I thought the title was Lord Buddha Explains the Whole Universe. I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, you know, I'll have to read it now then.
No, I don't know. That might not be the title, but it was a trip. Because basically they were looking at, in the view that was being presented in there, everything is vibratory
Hmm.
and running at a certain vibration, yes?
Hmm.
Yes. So
Yeah.
obviously for something to appear in space through time has to slow down.
Hmm.
Like its rotation has to slow for it to seem to appear.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Or to be perceived, and what can be perceived cannot be perceiving. So, yeah.
I like
Yeah.
all that stuff like that, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a trip. They have a whole thing, Buddha described the earth way before they had anything, He said it was like an orange, not a perfect circle, but more oval. And he prophesized planes and everything else
Mm.
thousands of years ago. Oh yeah, at least from their writings. Yeah. I did a number of retreats in Thailand, sitting. So I was introduced to some of this stuff. Yeah. Thanks. That's all.
Thank you.
Did it help me? Yeah, by failing. That's how everything has helped me here, by failing. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Anyone else?
Not showing. No. Anybody
Hey,
else? Good night, Gary.
Hey, let me say hello to everyone anyway then. Hey, Linda, where are you from, Linda? I'm just looking at you. If you don't mind.
No, I'm in South Australia.
Oh, South Australia. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. And we got Gene T. Where are you, Gene? I think it's Gene.
Yeah, it's
Is it
Jean.
Gene Tucker?
Yeah, it's me.
Where are you from, Gene?
I'm from Cape Town, South Africa.
Come from where?
Cape Town, South Africa.
We did. Oh, Cape Cod, South Africa.
No,
Oh,
Cape Town.
fantastic.
Cape
Nice
Town.
to meet you.
South Africa, though.
And
Oh, Cape Town, not Cape Cod. That's where Jack is. Cape Town. Thank you. Thank you for that correction. Well, welcome. Nice to meet you. How did you hear
Thank
about
you.
us?
Actually through Dr. Angelo DeLulo. He mentioned you. And I looked.
I've
He's all
heard
about
of him.
awakening.
Someone else said they heard about us through Angelo. I think
Yeah.
I've met him, but I'd have to see a visual. Well,
Yeah.
well, it's a pleasure to meet you. So I'm going to thank Angelo for
Thank you.
introducing us. Yes,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Thanks.
Anyone else, Michael? We'll just say,
Still no hands showing.
okay. Well, we can end. I think, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. Yeah. All right. Well, Mike, thank you so much. And also, anyone who comes to the Saturday meeting, if they do the live one, we're going to have it at our house, and the information will be put up on the website on Saturday at 1 o'clock. Yeah. And we're going to do the Zoom like we always do, but we also have a live meeting. Okay. So, David, nice to see you, Dave. Yes. Yeah. Bill C, as always. William S, Stamps, nice to see you. Michael Sherman, yes. I think he swallowed the canary today. He did, yes. We got Tommy. John from Florida. Nice to see you, John. Sherry, as always, a pleasure. See you soon, I hope. Jack in Cape Cod somewhere. Yes. Tyler Mendocino. Brandon V. You can find some of Brandon's music on our website. We have a number of people that have offered some of their music, and we have it up there. I think it's still up there, right, Mike? Everything? Yeah, if you want. It's some of them are pretty good, very good. We've got Hari. Hari, nice to see you, Hari. Hari's a good friend. He's yeah. We got Esteban, or in other places, Esteban. Yes. Nice to see you, Esteban. Craig May. Craig May, what's going on?
I was just really knocked out by today's meeting, actually. It was beautiful because it was just what you're going on about was just so, the way you described it was just so clean and simple. And it just washes over so beautifully. But I also really love the fact that you've been, you touched on that Ramana reading a couple of weeks back, Paul, and you've been, that thing where, you know, the self-inquiry, where, you know, you ask, who am I? And he says, you're not the one who's asking, you're not the one who's being asked. That's just so, it's like a knife through butter, because both sides of the mountain just simultaneously crumble, you know, and you're just left there. You're just left there. That unadorned, naked awareness, you know, it's really beautiful. Just so simple, isn't it? It's just so simple, beautifully simple at its core.
Now, see what happens when time kicks in. It seemed like it was just a moment, but that was eternity. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's of us. Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah. Things that are unforgettable can seem to be forgotten through time, but it's unforgettable. Yeah.
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 Can seem to be.
Yep. Yeah. All right, thank you. We got Linda, we got Jean, we got Kathleen. Kathleen, confused and happy. That's very good. Yes, we got Anu. Yeah, one of my favorite words to say. Anu. Yeah. Deborah, once named Deborah, now she's now Deborah, as Esteban is Esteban. Yes.
Paul,
We're not
your
gonna
laughter.
change names. We're not gonna change names here like Osho and stuff. We're just gonna emphasize different syllables. If you got a one syllable name, you're out to you're out. Forget about it. But if you got more than one syllable, it will be Linda,
Right, but
Deborah.
yeah, but the names you're changing you're changing the names of the two ex Osho's followers. Deborah and myself are Osho's followers.
Right.
And I didn't even know that. So yes, well, whatever
your
can be done
laughter
can be undone. You're now named Deborah.
Laughter conveys the message
Hey.
that it's like I get it. That part of me, it's just this tickled experience of the cosmic joke or something.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah. You know, the funny thing is, I had this event when I was younger. Again, the impact was under the surface. Yeah. The surface was what I was being emphasized was not missing the whole thing. So my father had been very ill for a while, and he didn't look happy. You know, he was going through a lot of trouble with his heart and blood pressure and stuff. And on Sunday, we were having lunch at the house, and my father was taking a nap up in my bedroom. You know, I shared a room with my brother. We were both around the house. So my mother sent me up to get my father for lunch. So I went up there, and my father was laying down with his hands on his chest, with a little smile on his face. I hadn't seen him smile in a long time. Yeah. And I called him to get him up, and he had passed away. Yeah. I didn't know he had passed away, but I yelled to my mom. My mom came up, and by her reaction on her face, I knew something had happened. But the lasting impression was that he had a smile on his face. Very powerful, really incredible. And it wasn't like I got it then, but underneath, it had a very big, because I'd been watching him for months, not looking happy. And there he was, very peaceful looking and had a smile. Very powerful, yeah. So sometimes there's a knowledge underneath all this stuff we're trying to gather, yes? Yeah. And sometimes that knowledge is triggered by the simplest little event. Maybe you think it was just a second, but what its trigger is going to affect this action figure, not by it, but through it for the rest of its days. Yes. Yeah. So nice to see you, Deborah. John, Kay, nice to see you. Again, let's just tell the truth. We're outmatched with the request to be detached. Let's just be detached from the idea of being the one who's detached. Yes? Just see that there's no attachment to that idea of being you. And then you won't be interested in attachment or whatever. Yes. You won't see it as a stairway to heaven type thing. Yeah.
Seem to be Meister Eckhart through a time warp, Paul.
Yes. Well, there's no time with what we're talking about. So yeah, all that can happen. Sure. I hope I'm looking better than Meister. I don't know. If I had that name, I probably wouldn't have made it through grade school in New York.
I think last sermon was in the 1290s.
Oh, was it? Oh, good. Meister. I know I heard of him. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Bruce, as always, sticking with us, my friend, eh? Yes. Yeah. Kathleen, I said good hello to. Anu, yes. Tyler, yes. All right, let me see. We've got Miss Amelia, we got Mandy, we got Sally, Laurie, Brahmi. Oh, Brahmi's back in India. That's nice. Sandra Housel, Susan K, my latte lady. Miranda, nice to see Miranda again. David Brown, Elliot, nice to see Elliot. Tej, as always. Samuel, if you come over this week, I don't know if you're planning. It's going to be at the house, Tej. If anything, my house in Nevada. We have Samuel. Nice to see you, Samuel. There. Susanna, as always. David Brown. Susan H. She's been smiling the whole time. That's nice, Susan. Yep. I think that's it for tonight. I'll see you soon, I hope. And we'll be here tomorrow morning, 10:30 Pacific time for recovery meetings. It's basically the same, really. And then Saturday and on and on.